Hi, good morning everybody. I'm back at the pond today. Thought I'd do a little bit of a tutorial on how I was fishing the Texas rig in my last video to be so productive for pre-spawn bass. I do it a little differently than some people might because I'm fishing on a very shallow pond. It's a neighborhood pond. But stay tuned, I'm going to show you how I like to do it. If you like what you saw, please hit that like button, subscribe. Remember to comment down below anything you'd like to see me do next. Any comments or suggestions. I'm still really new to this. I'm trying to figure out what people like and kind of the formatting issues. But yeah, anyway, stay tuned and enjoy. Excuse the state of the back of my car, but essentially all I really do is I have a extra wide gap worm hook that I've just attached with a clinch knot, and all I do is I Texas rig it. So that means you go in about, they say about a quarter of an inch. I probably do a little more, like a half of an inch, just to cover. You want enough worm to cover the shank, and I like to go over the knot too. I just think it helps conceal everything a little bit better. And you rotate it up, slide it over, then figure out where it's going to come through, push it through, and then I usually like to skin hook it also. Helps keep it weedless, and that's it. Usually I can get away with that. What I have been doing recently is, because a lot of people, myself included, like to fish it a little quicker. The natural fall of the weightless Texas rig works really well, but if you're trying to cover more ground, what works really well, if in my opinion anyway, is just putting a little tiny split shot on there rather than doing one of those classic Texas rig bullet weights. I take just a little tiny split shot and put it up above it, get it on there, squeeze it, and I like to use pliers to really get it on there, because usually when the bass hit it, it's going to come flying off, especially if you get a good bass. But that's the whole rig. I'm using finesse worm. You can really use anything, but that's how simple the rig is. Alright, I always start out at this spot, throwing a few casts right across here. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to explain how I like to work this. Everyone does it differently, but this is just what's been working for me recently, specifically with the pre-spawn bass. So I throw it out, let it fall. Then once I know it made bottom, I kind of just do a couple little pops. So if you can see my reel, all I'm doing is I'm doing 2 little pops and a little bit of a reel. Just I'm trying to work it slowly. I want it to leave the bottom, but only a little bit. Sometimes just a dead stick works really well if you have a finicky bass. What can be nice is, like, if you can actually see the bass, like right now, pre-spawn a lot, they're starting to bed down a little bit. If you know that there's a bass in a certain spot, like it's taking swings at your bait but it won't quite commit to it, I like to throw it out there, let it sit right where you think the bat is in the bass's line of sight, and then just do a little shake, just a little bit. Especially if you're using braid line, which I like to use, it transfers that energy straight to the bait. So on the bottom, it's just kind of doing some twitches. That's really the best way, at least best way. In my opinion, it's been working for me in these pond bass, especially pre-spawn. They're feeding like crazy, trying to get ready to make a new generation of bass. And man, I'm telling you, the way I've been fishing this has really been driving them nuts. So my actual setup I'm using is a medium light 6'6" spinning rod. It's a combo. I think the reel size is like a 2500. I'm actually not sure, but it sounds about right. And my main line is 10-pound braid. I have like a high vis yellow on because I like to do a lot of finesse fishing. This is my finesse bass setup. And this just really allows me to see any bites. I can see the line jump a lot easier, especially with some polarized sunglasses. It just stands out on top of the water. And my leader line is 8-pound fluoro. I do a couple feet of it because of that high vis yellow. I want this. I want the very visible main line to be pretty far from the potential fish. Anyway, so what you look for if you're a line watcher, like how I like to fish, is you're either looking for, 'cause a lot of times they'll get hit on the initial cast. When it's still sinking to the bottom, it'll just get picked up if it's anywhere near a bass that's hungry. You'll either see the line just doesn't quite make bottom, or and you won't even feel a hit, or you'll see it start going one direction really slowly because, you know, a big bass just scooped it up and is slowly swimming away with it. Or oftentimes if it's like a really aggressive hit, they'll take it and just immediately start running with it. And if you see the line start going underwater quicker than it should, you need to set that hook immediately, because if the bass feels any kind of tension, it'll probably spit it out. But what's nice is these worm hooks are really sharp, so you put some pressure on that, it's going right in. But anytime there's a difference in the structure of the pond, I like to work it a little bit just to see if there's fish held up, especially with the spawn going on, or going to be going on soon. I think it's pre-spawn right now. Fish might be bedded down or just starting to make structure, so you want to have a little look-see. And I kind of use this, at least on these small ponds. There's not that much structure. There's inlets and stuff. Oh, there we go. That's a good one. That's a very good one. Oh, that's a very good one. I tightened up the drag a little bit. This is a good bass. Oh man. Good start to the morning. He's actually not as big as I thought. I mean, he's a good fish, but he's mostly just really mad. Wow, he's fighting really hard. How did that even... Oh my gosh. He's hooked in the top of the head. I don't even understand that. Look at this. I think he took a swipe at it and missed. And it went into the top of his head. How does that? I've never seen that before. That is crazy. Okay, well, that's a good bass, although I have no idea how I hooked him. Let's release him and see if we can hook someone in the mouth. That was weird, to say the least. Oh. See, that's what I'm talking about with on the cast. Wow, he took it and ran with it. So fan casts are very useful for most baits. I definitely like them for the Texas rig when you're using it like a search bait. So that's about the same size as the last guy, but the difference in how he fought is huge. Wow. There we go. Alright, it's a good little bass, but check out this. Look at his eye, huh? He's got kind of a... I guess he's blind in one eye or something. It's a good little bass. Can't unfortunately get much lower, so... And he's off. The worm has its own action just in how it falls, and that's really what seems to entice them in. I just kind of drag it, you can pop it, you can do whatever. And what's cool about the Texas rig is because it's essentially just a worm or a hook and possibly a weight, but not necessarily. You can change the bait out pretty immediately. So if you think certain style of worm, or you want a creature bait, or you think the color's wrong, you just pop it off and put it on, you got a whole new bait. Oh. Little guy. Oof. He's very warm, huh? All right, bye, buddy. Thank you. Just a little guy. Just a little guy. Very pretty. Very warm. There's another little guy. That could have been the exact same fish. So a little mouth, one big raise, and then letting it fall back down on slack line. And I reel up the slack, then I do it again. Just going from, oof, that was a big eat. Like 3 o'clock, oh, I got a fish. Another one of these guys. Man, it is really doing some work on these little guys right now. There we go. Another little guy. Alright, that's a decent bass. Nice little bass, huh? Oof, thank you for that.